Hey Cardano, this is the first tutorial for the P2P-DeFi wallet, and it will cover installing the wallet from source. The wallet is a light wallet, which means you don't need a local node installed on your computer. Instead, it's going to use Koios to get your wallet balances. Koios is like Blockfrost and Maestro, except it's more decentralized. To actually install it, you're going to need to use the terminal. If that makes you nervous, the guide is set up to just be copy pastes, so even a beginner should be able to get it installed. Everything you need is inside the P2P wallet repo. As of right now, it hasn't been merged into main, so if when you come to the repo, there's nothing here, go to the dev branch. The README in the dev branch has a dedicated installing section. And you just need to follow this README in order to get it installed on your computer. For this video, I'll show how to install it on Ubuntu 24.04, but the wallet is cross-platform. It's supposed to work on Mac OS, Windows, and the other Linux distributions. The wallet is effectively just a GUI wrapper around Cardano-CLI and Cardano-hw-cli, so you'll need to have both of those installed. Then you'll also need SDL2 and GLEW. These are both used by the front end to actually display the app for you. And then libsodium, SEP256, and blst are required in order to actually build the transactions with Cardano-CLI. So the instructions here will show you how to install all of it. Before we can really install the other dependencies, you're going to need a few packages installed on your system. In order to install them, you're going to need an administrator privilege because you have to execute sudo. Over here, I'm not using the administrative user, so I'll need to log in as the administrator from the terminal, and you can do that using the su command. And then just type in the username for your admin user. My username is just admin user. Type in your password. So now I'm logged in as the admin user on this terminal, and I can execute sudo commands. So the system dependencies for Ubuntu are here. If you're on the other operating systems, the system dependencies are exactly the same as with Cardano Node. So if you go to the installation instructions for Cardano Node, you can follow the system dependencies installation section for the other operating systems. If you're on Windows, you should use the Windows Linux subsystem, and then the instructions are going to be similar to Ubuntu. So you have the other Linux installation instructions here, and then you have Mac OS down here. So I'll just copy paste. To highlight the entire line, you just triple click. So 1, 2, 3, and then copy. To paste into the terminal, you can either right click to paste, or you can press Ctrl-Shift-V. That's usually faster than just right clicking to paste. Just copy paste what you see in order. On newer versions of Ubuntu and possibly other Linux distributions, you may get this error where you can't locate libcurses5. If that's the case, just swap out libcurses5 for libcurses-dev. So you can hit the up arrow to bring back the previous command, and then just go over to libcurses5 and replace it with libcurses-dev. We don't need the sudo privilege anymore for the next few commands, so you can log out of the administrator with the exit command. And now we're back to the normal user. In order for the wallet to actually execute Cardano-CLI and Cardano-hw-cli, they need to be installed in a manner that the wallet can execute. So to do that, we're going to effectively create a local install. We're going to need to create a directory that the terminal can look into when you want to execute these programs. And then you're just going to store the executables inside this directory. So to set up this local install, you just, again, copy paste what you see. And that's it. Now we are ready to actually install Cardano-CLI and Cardano Hardware CLI. All you have to do for this is to actually just go to the latest releases for them. So this is Cardano CLI, and go down to assets for the release you want to use. Here, and pick the download for your operating system. So I'll pick Linux. And then you want to go to your downloads, and you can see this file here. If you right click on it, there's an option to extract. And then go into the extracted folder, go into the bin directory, and you can see all of the executables that were inside the file you just downloaded. The guide says that you need to execute this command from within the newly extracted directory. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to the downloads folder here. In the empty space, if you right click, there's an option to open in terminal. And now it opens the terminal in that directory. And we can just copy paste what we saw in the guide, press enter. And if we did that right, I'll close out of these two. Over here, we should be able to execute this command here, Cardano CLI version. If it was locally installed, it should work like this. Now you're going to repeat the process for Cardano Hardware CLI. So go to the latest releases, go to assets, download the one for your operating system, go to your downloads folder, right click to extract, go inside the folder, and you should see something like this. The guide says to execute this command from within that extracted directory. So again, right click to open in terminal and just execute the command. If you did it right, you should be able to execute this command in the terminal here. Cardano Hardware CLI version. And it worked. So now we have Cardano CLI and Cardano Hardware CLI locally installed. There is a bug in Cardano Hardware CLI that prevents it from signing DeFi transactions that include Cardano loans, Cardano options, and Cardano aftermarket. But you can still sign transactions with Cardano swaps and normal transactions. So for updating your delegation preferences or just sending ADA around, you can still sign with Cardano Hardware CLI. If you're on Linux, you're going to need to set up the udev rules so that you don't need to use administrative privilege to actually talk to your hardware wallet. If you are using Ledger, you just need to copy paste this command with sudo, and if you're using Trezor, you just need to copy paste this command. So sign in as your administrator again using su. And just copy paste. I'm going to copy paste both of them because I want to use both. If you want to use Trezor, you are going to need to use trezor-suite and have it open in the background. or you're going to need to set up trezor-bridge. So for trezor-suite, you can just go to the link and download it for your operating system. On Linux, in order to actually run the trezor-suite app, you're going to need to also install libfuse 2. So while we have administrative privilege, we don't have to install libfuse 2. And then going to your downloads again, I'm going to move it to my home directory. Initially, it's not executable, meaning you can't double click to open. But if you right click and go down to properties, there's this option to execute as program. So toggle that, and now you can double click to open. Okay. To test your connection, you should be able to execute this command in your terminal without sudo when your hardware wallet is open to the Cardano app. As an example of what you should see, if you open a new terminal window, I have my Ledger Nano open to the Cardano app. If I execute this command, it tells me the Cardano app version. You should get a similar output if you use Trezor, as long as you have trezor-suite open in the background or you have the trezor-bridge installed. Continuing on, in order to install STL2 and GLEW, you just need to execute this one-liner with sudo, so using the administrator. For the other operating systems, there's this link here, and it takes you to the documentation for installing STL2 and GLEW on the other operating systems. That's it for those. Now we're ready to install the crypto libraries. We don't need the administrator for the next few commands. We're going to be cloning from GitHub a lot, so to stay organized, we're going to create a git clones directory and download the repos into that directory. The commands here are meant to just be copy pasted one after another. As soon as one command finishes, just immediately execute the next one. When you have a sudo command, you'll need to log in as your administrator right before that command. I'm just going to speed through this because it is just copy pasting one after another. This next command extends until the EOF. You need to copy paste the entire thing. At this point, your system is properly configured to run the wallet. So if you already have a pre-built executable, you should be able to run it on this computer. If you had any difficulties installing the crypto dependencies, you can reference the Cardano node installation instructions. The Cardano node goes into a bit more detail on installing them, and it requires the same dependencies. So you have libsodium, then SEP256, and blst. So the last step is to install the Haskell toolchain that will be used to actually build the executable. And again, it's just copy paste. So you hit enter. You can either prepend or append. I prefer to append. You don't need the Haskell language server. You don't need to integrate stack. At this point, it tells you that you need to make sure you have these packages installed on your computer. To do that, you can copy them, then go to open a new terminal window and sign in as your administrator. And then sudo apt install and paste. I already have them installed, but if you didn't, they would be installed here. Then you can exit to log out. You can exit again to close this terminal window, which brings you back to here, and you can press enter to continue after you've installed the packages. Initially, it's going to install the compiler version 9.4.8, but the wallet actually needs 9.2.8. So once it's done installing everything here, we're going to need to ask it to install 9.2.8. Once that's installed, in order to be able to use the newly installed Haskell tools, you'll need to restart your or reload your terminal with this command. And then we can ask it to install 9.2.8. With that, we're finally ready to build the wallet. And again, it's just copy paste. We're going to go into the git clones directory since we're going to clone from GitHub. We're going to clone the P2P wallet repo. And then go inside the newly downloaded directory. If you're still on the dev branch, then make sure you check out the dev branch. If it's been merged into main already by the time you're following along, just follow whatever is there. And you just keep copy pasting. Finally, the Cabal build command will build the wallet. It's probably going to take about 30 minutes. So the last step, once it's built, is to move the executable to your home directory. And this command here will do that. So if not, I now go to my home directory. Here's the P2P wallet, and double clicking on it should open it.